Hey guys, today we are getting the Firebird ready for the test and tune at Famoso. We're going to be pulling the LS1 out of the car and doing a full build with that engine, but in the meantime we're going to be throwing in my cammed LM4. So yeah, let's get to it. Okay, first thing we got to do is pull the fiberglass front clip off. So we're gonna do that before we roll it into the garage. It comes off really easily. All you gotta do is pull the wheels off and then it just slides forward. Okay, Travis is doing the Zeus fasteners. There's 4 on each side. I think the other side is missing one.
Yeah, the 8th one is still in the avalanche cup holders. Easy. Hold on, it's pull it back in more. No, it's locked. It's not wanting to work out of here. Okay, so we have to clear the brakes, and it's kind of front heavy because of lights. So, carefully watch.
The wires are hung Travis one.
Oh, is there a ground? There we go.
Cool, let me get out of your way.
Perfect.
There you go. Okay, just put it sit in this right here.
Yeah, it's got out of the way.
Is there room there?
Make room.
Okay, now we're gonna drive the Firebird into the garage. It's actually super nice being able to drive it in without the front clip. We'll leave that there for now. Lots of room. I think that's good there, as long as we can walk by it. Yeah, that's good. Cool. If you guys have seen my other videos on the Firebird, then you're very familiar with this setup already, but I'll kind of walk you through what's going on the front end here. So wheel and tire combo, it's Centerline Convo Pros on Mickey Thompson ET Street fronts. And fun fact, these are the very first set of ET Street fronts that rolled off the production line there at Mickey Thompson. So thought that was pretty cool. And then QA1 suspension, so these are their GM 2.0 upper and lower control arms with their double adjustable coilovers. And yeah, this thing has got amazing travel. It's great for doing wheelies on the street.
So 250-pound springs, they're the lightest spring that QA1 offers. Any lighter and it would need custom springs. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And then cold case radiator, GC cooling, fan. There's supposed to be fans, but we actually remove the other one. We didn't even need a second one. This thing barely runs above 170, so it's pretty nice. And then Borgeson manual steering box. So this is their 16 to 1.
Yeah, 4.5 turns lock to lock. It's technically the 69 Z28 only manual box. Mm-hmm. So it's a quick ratio manual.
And then it's all Hooker Blackheart LS swap stuff, so the motor mounts, the trans cross member 2, the headers, Willwood disc brakes up front, and the actual engine itself. So this is a bone stock LS1 5.7 all aluminum. It's never even, well, I was gonna say it's never had the valve covers off, but
that's what we used to say is, oh, never had the valve covers off, but now it has valve covers.
now it has Granatelli Motorsports valve covers, so we could put the Gen 4 coil plugs on it, but it still has the crappy factory intake.
So this LS1 is a model year 2000. The significance of that is it's the year before no EGR, so this is the really early, not good LS1 intake manifold. Every single intake manifold for LS1 and LS6 after 01 or 01 and after is the LS6 manifold because it doesn't have EGR port.
Yeah.
So another thing about this motor is that the reason why we've wanted to pull it out and why, like when we raced it at Tucson, it was only at 17 degrees of timing and just super detuned, is this has the really, really early rod bolts. So the first style, because there's three styles, most people think there's only two. It's got the super early rod bolts, which will fail over stock rev limiter, and the really early lifters that don't have the surround around the lifter wheel. So yeah, if you ever spin this thing over stock rev limiter, which is 6,000, it's if it fails, not when. Or sorry, it's when it fails, not if.
Mm-hmm.
So we were shifting at 62. That's already pushing it. So, and this motor probably has 180,000 miles on it.
Yeah.
And see, I've noticed since we've been driving it so much, a lot of points you can't actually, like, look at that. You can't even tell it's aluminum anymore. Like of how greasy this thing is now. So it had 160 the last time it was in a 4th gen, and we've put tons and tons of miles on it since. So
yeah, and right now he's just undoing the painless wiring harness. So I've talked about that already. I'm gonna be doing like a full painless chassis wiring to sort of clean all this up even further, because right now it just looks like a bunch of wires everywhere. But yeah, so this baby is going to be well taken care of. Once this thing is out, you'll see in another video, we'll do a full tear down on it, inspect it, and then I'm going to be using the aluminum block here, do a 3905 bore, 4-inch stroke, and ultimately do a 383 stroker build. And then eventually it'll find its way back into the Firebird and hopefully run 10s. So
nice.
Travis thinks 9. But basically, today's Saturday. Next Saturday, we're going to be at Famoso, as I mentioned, and hopefully put this baby in the 11s with the cammed LM4 right here. And just as a little refresh, it's an aluminum 5.3, and in a previous video, you would have seen us installing the TIC Performance Street Heat Stage 3 cam?
2.
2?
Street Heat Stage 2 for
5.3.
4.53.
Yeah, I always forget because we have another TIC cam in that motor, but the specs on this, it's a 229, 235 on a 111 plus 2. So we're thinking, even though we're going down in displacement, this is a pretty big cam. So
and it'll have actual real tune in it.
Yeah, it'll have a real tune. It'll have actual timing, and
this is not an L33. That's not a high performance aluminum 5.3. It's basically exactly a copy of an iron block LM7. It just happens to be aluminum. So it's only got 9.5 to 1 compression, 706 heads, which have the smaller intake valve, 200cc runner, although 706 heads actually perform pretty much the best on 5.3s because they were designed for the smaller cubic inch. And the cam's big enough where maybe it makes up the difference, but this motor was probably making 360 in the tune it had, and that, with a good tune and good weather, should be close to 450. So the torques, though, is where I'm kind of iffy on, because this probably makes 400 pound-feet of torque easily, because it's 5.7. That's only 5.3 with half a point less compression and way less dynamic compression, because the lobe separation is so narrow compared to this. This has a 119.5.
yeah.
So this thing probably actually builds some good cylinder pressure and doesn't bleed, doesn't bleed it off when the valves are open at the same time, whereas that is going to. So hopefully our converter's loose enough to just slip past when that doesn't make any torque, but should be okay.
Yeah. Also, one more thing. There we go.
All right, so I'm going to give you this tool to do, I know, your favorite job you're looking forward to doing.
Oh yeah, pulling the intake. Freaking so mad that we did fuel injection, but whatever.
so mad about computer controlled transmission and 33 miles per gallon on the highway.
I mean, that's pretty nice, but I mean, how much better would this thing look with the carb manifold and like one of my 4150s on it? They just look better.
I just like how much flack we get for liking carbureted LSs. Meanwhile,
This is coming off, thank God. And it's going right back on. Oh.
yeah, I know how badly you want to yeet that across the garage, but we do still need fuel injection for now.
Okay, now the radiator is coming off, but I always like to mention this whenever I show it because I'll get a lot of comments about it, but this is not the final radiator support setup whatsoever. This is just, it was honestly supposed to be temporary, and cage was also supposed to be finished, but Fab Guy that we used completely ripped me off, so that never got done. So for now, it's still using the same setup.
Unfinished setup.
Yeah, but we'll get to it eventually. So now what's
that's
next?
why the door bars are tacked in. The rest of the cage is finish welded. We never painted or finished it because we thought it was going to be finished, but we've got floors that are going to go in, and then door bars will come back out. It'll be finish welded around, and then we'll paint the page, and it'll actually look good again.
Paint the page?
Paint the page. Oh. Spacer. Here, lean it towards me. You got it.
Got it?
Yep.
Sorry.
Oh, geez.
Oh.
These water pumps, new, are like $300 now.
Jeez.
Because they're the fancy, short F-body ones. Mm-hmm. Park ones are still cheap. Yeah, look how dirty this is.
So I'm just pulling the coil packs off, and I'm in love with these Granatelli valve covers just because it eliminates the brackets and kind of cleans it up a bit.
It's technically faster to pull them on and off with the brackets, but it just looks a million times better, so it's totally worth it.
If you can clean up anything on an LS, you might as well. Okay, so whenever I take the Firebird to Cars and Coffee, the number one question I get is about this right here. So that is the limiting bolt on these QA1 upper arms. And here you can see.
You can just see the tip of it underneath.
Yeah. There we go. So you can see it contacting there. So we have it set all the way out, and that's just so that way when you gas it, the front end like violently comes up. So it's just really fun to do that on the street. But okay, so everything up top has been removed, all the accessories as well, and then Travis is gonna go roll underneath the car in the water here and
Did all the things that I'm not looking forward to do.
yeah. So I've talked about the exhaust setup before. I'll go over it again. What I'm running here is all Lyle stainless parts. So the setup, it's a true dual setup, and it runs to these Lyle stainless B52 mufflers, and they're 14 inches. They're pretty damn big, but I love them because they really quiet the car down. Almost a little too much, but I'm thinking now that we're gonna have the cammed LM4 in there, these might actually be pretty awesome. And when I say quiet, I mean when we were at Tucson Dragway, the guys at the starting line kept telling me to fire up the car because they couldn't even hear that it was on. So
and even we couldn't tell. We kept having to touch the car.
yeah, I kept having to go like this to feel if it was even on. So they do an amazing job, and I actually, as much as I love like a super loud hot rod, I actually like that this thing is so stealthy. It's just cool. Okay, exhaust is dropped.
Now just get the mid pipe, and then headers, and then the headers and starter kind of have to come off at the same time.
Okay.
So that's the only kind of annoying thing, and then the O2 sensors, like I said, the angle kind of weird.
So while Travis is down there, I'm gonna be up here doing the best job, and
yeah, since the F bodies, I always say how much I love F-bodies. The F-body, the frame rail goes in and it stays in, whereas the A-bodies, they perimeter frame, 90-degree turn, and they're way out here. You have a ton of room. But yeah, so F-body tucks in, and obviously these things were never designed for an overdrive transmission and headers and stuff like that. So
okay, there's the mid pipe. So again, this is all Lisle stainless here.
So yeah, it collects, header collects right here. And there's just muffler 1, muffler 2. So it's pretty astounding how quiet this car is with how little exhaust it has.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now time to pull the motor mount bolts. Looks like it's already slipping. Just turn it. Okay, ready? Here you go. Cool. So now we'll move that out of the way and then lower this.
So yeah, that's definitely one thing I would recommend. If you ever plan on pulling your engine out in and out a lot with these Hooker Blackheart system, is run the plug that comes with these here, and then move these further down the line where you can actually reach them. Because the way this angles, this cable has to snake in a weird spot because your transmission's right here, and also your second gear servo, that big. If you have a 700R4 or a 4L60E, you've got your second gear servo. That's that big dish-looking thing right here. And it is totally, actually no, I think it's technically right here, and it is totally in a weird spot. And you can see how these wires twist as you're tightening this in, because you can only do it when it's in the car. It can totally break these wires off. So.
Okay, now we're moving on to the converter bolts, and if you've seen our junkyard videos, you've seen us struggle with this part.
Well, we never actually do it. We just pull it with the converter still bolted.
Well,
and then we always just bend the flex plate really bad. So one is out. We get it. Maybe when I shine in there, you can see.
I don't know if you can even see anything. It's so dark.
The other guy will show up. There it is.
There it is.
So it needs to be right about there. It's a little easier than it is doing it on your back, going up underneath. But then there's technically also the inspection hole in the bell housing, which you can do these in, but these are never really fun anyway. Okay, loose. Oh, okay, so I was trying to avoid doing is dropping it. Oh, no, it's gone. Oh, I got it.
Got it?
Yeah.
I'm just hoping for some larger wheelies at Famoso with the cammed LM4 with actual timing and...
Yeah, and we've got our MSD two-step 8733.
Oh,
which
that's true. I forgot about that.
Oh, got it. Awesome. That one I didn't drop.
Okay.
All right, converter bolt's done. Now I just got to get the make sure the trans is supported safely, and then bell housing bolts, which are not nearly as hard as they are to get to in 4th gens, because the windshield isn't right here.
Yeah. All right, so the motor is basically ready to come on out now. All the bell housing bolts except for one have been removed, and so I'll let Travis explain. We hit a bit of a snag here.
So, like I've said, we've never pulled this combo out one at a time. We've never either dropped the trans or just pulled the motor. So what we've found out is if you get all the way in here, this bell housing bolt is impossible to remove in the car. It is way too close to the firewall.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to shimmy this motor and trans out somewhat to clear it, or we'll just cut it, and then that will just never be a bolt anymore.
Okay.
Okay, so we've pulled both of the motor mount plates. Where'd they go? These guys?
One's there.
These. So these are much easier to get on and off. Not in the car, but so those are off. What we're going to be doing is doing a weird little dance, getting the motor low and forward enough to make enough room. So you see we've got a gap here. We've been adjusting the transmission jack. That's what's holding up the trans pan. And then it just shimmied exactly what I wanted. You can see here, there's a gap here, and now I can start taking this off more. So
Move
I can.
your hand. Let me show them. So now you can see there's more of a gap.
Yeah, so we're gonna start working on that.
A wild Travis in his natural habitat.
What, sketchy engine pulls?
Don't get too close. He does bite.
Okay. Strap is done.
Okay.
Yeah, just watch, make sure I'm not snagging on anything, make sure nothing goofy's happening.
Ready? Okay.
Looks good.
Looks good.
I'm gonna come a little bit forward because we can, because we don't have the mount. Looks good?
Yep. Nothing's...
Good?
Looks good.
I don't want to test the tensile strength of anything we forgot to disconnect.
No, it looks good.
With the water coming out of the holes here, it looks like the motor's crying.
Oh.
It's like,
no, it's gonna get a
crying. It's like,
great
like
second life. Oh no, this thing's gonna be a race motor.
It's gonna get to rebuild it. Maybe it's crying tears of joy.
Yeah, it's like finally
Finally
get
gets
attention. And it gets to keep its cathedral ports, so...
Well, everything gets to keep their cathedral ports. Until we have some mega cubic inch, everything is going to keep it.
Yeah.
That was not really that difficult. Granted, the hard part is going to be putting it back in. But there she is. They're just crying.
Holy...
Sad guy. Actually, this is pretty cool. We even took our time filming. The motor is still warm to the touch.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, the motor's
yeah,
still
it
warm.
is.
So... Yeah, we could have done this actually much
There's
faster.
my little 9.5-inch converter.
There's our good old Bill converter.
Shout out to Bill at West Coast Racing Converters. Oh my god, it's so cool to see that now.
Yeah,
we haven't seen it since.
But this entire thing is something you never really see.
Oh, we can't forget the shims, by the way.
Yeah, well the other two, one came. The other two, one
I
of them
see
came
one
off.
right down there.
Yeah, the one's in the other one's dancing somewhere else.
That's so
it's only
cool.
on the back of the flex.
I'm gonna take a picture of that after, because
that's
that's hopefully not gonna see that for a little while.
So, and I guess you can see this now too. You can see how leaky this engine's gotten, and it's got a really bad rear main seal leak. So, like every time we park it, there's literally a puddle.
Yeah. So guys, definitely expect another video coming soon of us tearing this thing completely down to the block.
Yeah, pulling pistons out because it's getting rebuilt no matter what. See what 180,000+ miles looks like inside. It probably looks really good. But yeah, the guy I got it from though really didn't take care of it. So when I bought this thing like 8 years ago, it was overheating really bad, and it had a really badly cracked exhaust manifold, so it was storing lean codes. So it ran like garbage. It overheated. This motor's been to like 240 degrees back when it was in a 4th gen and when it was in this. Like this motor's gotten way too hot way too many times. It's got the lifters that can fail. It's got the rod bolts that can fail. And then, like I said, I've gotten this thing hot enough where it would really suck if it dropped a valve seat when we could have just swapped heads at any time. You know what I mean? Like we could have just put in forces on this at any, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we have chosen not to just because we're trying to keep it together and then watch it drop a valve seat in these crappy heads. So, but now that's no longer a thing. So
Yep.
it's done its job. Get 18 passes on a drag strip in it.
Okay, so if you saw our video where we install the tick cam in this engine, you would have seen that we use this tool right here. And I recommend it to everyone who works on LS engines as much as we do. Just go straight to O'Reilly, and while you could rent this tool, I would just straight up order one. It's the EverTough Chrysler Puller, part number 67005. And it looks like this. Just like that. And we're gonna get this set up right here on the balancer.
Just like that. Super easy.
Nice.
All right, this crank bolt was very tight. Clearly it's 20 years and a lot of heat cycles, so this one definitely was one of the hardest ones we've ever had to pull off. I had to jump on this while she sat on the motor, but...
Yeah, you can see we moved it over to the cart.
And then if you haven't seen how to set this up, just get the long pin, slip that in, and then you see these 3 tabs on here. Some pulleys have a little bit different of a tab situation, but they all have 3 in some capacity. So then you just line it up, get it in there, and then slide it over so that all 3 arms grab each one of those little tabs. And then just start tightening this till it Yeah, see, all 3 arms are on there. And then once you get a tension on it, and then it's just throw your 19 on there and start cranking. All right, here she comes. Here, it's basically at truck length now. It's almost there. Yep.
There we go.
Gotcha. So that's off. Yeah, so here, while we're here, you see the mega difference between truck. Here. Get it like level? Yeah, so that's the height difference. And then also actually something else I just noticed too. The diameter is slightly less. So that's actually interesting. It spins your, yeah, look at that. It you see that?
Yeah.
It spins your, here, look straight down. It'll spin your accessories a fraction bit slower. Okay, so this thing's basically ready to be not used. Crank pulley's off. We're gonna probably steal the steam port, but we'll do that after the motor's in the car. Valve cover, same thing. We'll do that after the motor's in the car. And then I think I'm gonna use this flex plate because I know this flex plate isn't bent and it worked well with that trans. So we'll just swap flex plates. But what we're gonna do is set this motor up now on this one. However, we're gonna get it ready and then get it off this and probably just dangle it off of this and then throw this guy on the yellow stand because this is the working stand. It's the one that, or working on engine stand because it's the one that spins. So yeah, we'll play musical engine stands and then it's everything we just did in reverse.
Sweet. All right, it's the next morning, and now I'm gonna put the Hooker Blackheart engine mounts on the LM4.
Okay, so we have the crank pulley baking in the oven, so we can slip it on, but in the meantime, so here's the thing from earlier. So you can see there is no way to get that out. So really quick, we're gonna just start slowly lower the trans on the trans jack to get it to slip out, and then remember to never put one back in.
Okay. Almost there. Oh! Oh! Come on! Yes! Got it. Okay. Sweet.
It's free.
Okay, now we have the LM4 on the engine hoist, and it's time to guide it into place. This might be a little tricky, but I think it should be fine. That looks good.
Not yet. It's close. All right, so we've determined that, in fact, when you pull this in and out, you do have to have these off because there's not enough way to get the engine down and in to mate with these guys, because these again need to come straight down and it would have the flex plate contact the bell housing. So a little bit of a pain having to pull these out with the motor half out, but hopefully it's not too bad.
Oh yeah, it's basically right there. See how it's almost guided in? Okay, basically guided itself in there. Okay, now you can see that we got the LM4 mated to the transmission here. We got all the bell housing bolts in.
Let's just hope this, okay, it's finally cooled enough.
Oh, it did?
Yeah. So now we can spin this guy, line the converter up.
Okay.
Let's see if we can get a guy. Ugh, this thing's hard to spin with the beefy valve springs. 200 spring versus a, what, 475?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Oh, there's one.
Okay, so.
Do you want to raise it a little bit more?
Yeah, it's all the way up the top.
Okay, there.
Oh, here. I can just see it right there. Okay, perfect.
Yep.
All right, okay, one is in. Now let's spin everything. 2 more. Oh my god,
I'll keep an eye.
This thing's really hard to turn.
You just focus on spinning it. I'll watch. It's coming.
That means this junkyard fresh motor's got compression. Oh, there's right there.
A little bit higher.
Good?
Okay,
right there?
that should be good.
Okay, cool. Okay, number 2.
One
more time. I might need to get a tool to keep doing this. Ugh, so close. Okay, so there's that one. Yeah, let me get the tool so we can do this a little faster. All right, number 3, that one's in. Now just snug them all down and then spin a couple times and make sure they're all equal and nice and tight. Hopefully we don't have to look at these things for a long time.
Okay, finally, so the LM4 and transmission are connected, all the converter bolts are in, and now it's just gonna be a matter of lifting the entire unit and then putting the Hooker Blackheart engine mounts on.
We go up a tiny bit.
Yeah, raise it a bit. I'll hold them.
Got it.
Got it?
Yeah. Yep, there we go.
Perfect.
Okay.
That's what I mean. It just kind of, this thing is awesome. I would not even consider doing my own LS mounts because these just work so well.
So yeah, now we'll just, it wants to be a little bit further forward. So we'll have to get it to where we can bolt these on. Yeah, okay, so we'll bolt them on just like that.
Okay.
And then lower it in as if they were on the entire time.
Where'd the bolts go?
Right
There? Okay.
And the other side's, for whatever reason, easier despite the fact that they're steering in the way. So literally, as I was just saying, for whatever reason, the driver's side of this car is always so much easier to work on. That side literally just falls in. So not even close to a challenge.
All right, mounts are on for the final time. Lowered into place.
So it's technically installed, although we're not done picking it back up and out because we have to lift up the side to get the
Headers and
header and starter in. But I'm going to take off the mounting back here and put it just up here because we need to plug a bunch of stuff in back there.
yeah.
Okay, so we got everything plugged into the back, knock sensors, cam sensor, the other O2s going back down there, map sensors right here. And something we're gonna be doing in the near future is doing a total body rewire with using a painless harness, exactly the one we use in the El Camino. We just don't have it yet. And then this thing technically already has a painless engine harness for the LS1, but that all comes pre-terminated. So that's why everything's long and kind of like here and visible. So in the meantime though, we've got the classic braid that we're gonna wrap the thing with, and that's exactly what we wrap the El Camino with. So while I'm here, and because this is gonna be really hard to get to forever, is I'm wrapping the crank position sensor and gonna hide it, and that one will be done and good. But yeah, as soon as that harness shows up, all of this is gonna go away. It's gonna be organized. All of this wiring in this car was all the proof of concept wiring, and it's been working and running for like a year and a half, 2 years, and done. So that's what they look like, wrapped. And then we've got a whole bunch of sizes. So yeah, we'll completely go through this thing. We'll redo make a chassis harness, and then like all of this stuff. This is just factory GM stuff lying around. That's all gonna go.
Okay, now we're doing the most annoying header.
How much is it?
It just needs to move like there. That's
There?
it. That's
Okay,
it.
cool. Yeah, you can. Okay, we're good there.
Okay.
Okay. Now they're both where they want to be, kind of.
So the difficult side is done now. We got the header in place, starters in, O2 is where it needs to be.
Yeah, all of them had to dance at the same time.
Yep, and now this is the easy side. This header literally just slips in.
Yeah, it's funny how this side has the steering and the shift linkage, yet it's not, like literally 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay, 2 seconds. Put it where it wants to be. Okay.
Okay, both the headers are on now, so now it's just lower it down for the last time. And then using the engine mount bolts here. Perfect.
Got the puzzle piece of the ICT bracket back together. We tried to keep it all together, and then we tipped it over, and all the pieces went everywhere. So, all right, now I have your least favorite piece, and we're gonna figure out if we can use one of my truck steam port vents, because if you can see here, it goes up because the truck stuff is so much higher compared to the car, which comes out straight forward. See right now. Fits. Oh, looks like it might. Okay, so actually, yeah.
Let's come around.
So that guy's gonna go like that, and then my The line's long enough, I believe, to just leave that on. So yeah, we're just gonna probably just leave it on with the.
Okay. Okay, so now we're on to the easy stuff like valve covers. Just gonna remove these ones and then put on my super nice Granatelli ones that remove the coil bracket. Okay, time for the reveal. So there you go, you can see my TIC 475-pound springs and the super lightweight LS retainers. Those are supposed to be the lightest LS ones you can buy in the aftermarket, but some guy on the internet said they weren't. So
I believe TIC.
yeah, I believe TIC. Okay, so I'm just tightening down the coil packs now. After this, we just got to put on these new Granatelli plug wires. Then it's the accessory belt, radiator and fan setup. Plug a few more things in, and then she's ready to fire. Travis is under the car right now. I'm gonna hand him the mid pipe here. Sorry.
And I really want to fire it up with just this, because I ran it with just this with the stock LS1 cam, and it sounded awful.
Okay, so the mid pipe is on, mufflers are off, you can see them on the floor there, and we went into HP Tuners just now and changed two things. So cylinder volume and the main VE table.
So it probably will run terribly because the cam is so big, but I guess we'll figure it out.
Okay. You ready?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, let me get over here. All
Just
right.
let me know if anything happens and tell me to shut it off, okay?
Yep.
Recycle the key again.
Sweet.
Yeah, that literally, I was kind of like flipping it for a little bit, and it but how's it sound?
It sounds so good. It sounds so good. I'm like, but I am excited to put the mufflers on just to hear like what it really sounds like.
Yeah, we'll put the mufflers on right now.
And then this is like that meme. It's like, I'm somewhat of a tuner myself.
Yeah, right. It's so funny being in this car and actually having a rough idling car. Like, because we're so used to this thing being so dead smooth.
Yeah.
But, okay, so yeah, I'll hop out of here, and then we'll hook up the exhaust and hook up the water.
Okay. Okay, we threw on the mufflers really quickly and didn't even bother with the cooling system. We just wanted to hear what this thing sounds like. I'm so anxious.
Ready?
Yep.
Didn't like that.
Nope.
Okay, hold on, I gotta rev it up to let it idle.
Okay. sounds so good.
Is it loud and idle now?
Yeah,
Oh, so it's actually not like a loud car now?
it's actually a loud car now.
Okay. It shakes hard in here. So that was idling. I guess let's see what it was idling at. Yeah, the startup is off, but it idled on its own.
Sweet.
Let's see, that was idling at like 800.
Wow.
So that was 800 idle. So that's cold idle. But okay, so yeah, now let's actually put water in it. You can see our it's shook enough to where our intake is starting to lose our intake. Let's see if we can put it in gear and watch it just install immediately.
No.
All right, cool. Okay, so radiator's on, everything is on, belt's on. We fill the radiator full of water. It seems to run good enough where we can actually idle it and actually get it to, you know, heat cycle and get water actually in the block. So I'm gonna get in there, fire it up, get it to idle, and then step out of it. And then as it warms up, I think I'm gonna command idle higher, make it command idle at like, you know, 800-900, and then assuming we can then get the radiator fully ready to go, and then maybe even back it out so we can put the clip on. But yeah, let's see what happens.
Should I add water if it's...
It's a matter of, well, as soon as the thermostat opens, it opens at 160, so it shouldn't take too long. I'm thinking it's carbureted, so I'm pumping it.
No, I just saw that.
Cars are carbureted. So this is what you can do. So it's idling at like 700, but as it warms up, it's gonna drop the idle. So I can idle control it. Shoot. I'm gonna idle control it to like 800. Just have it hold that idle. So there, now it's gonna idle at 800. Water temperature at 136.
Okay. Just gonna wait for the thermostat to open?
Yep. You just watch this, and as soon as it gets low, we'll pour water in it. That's pretty good. All right, we're at 162. It's still pretty quiet up here.
Yeah. No, I got used to it really quick.
Let's see what the water temp is. 178. Okay, there's obviously a big air bubble. Alright, I'm gonna shut off a little bit further. Cool.
Sweet.
Alright, we'll let it cool off a little bit and then try to push that air out of that line.
Okay. Okay, so we manually filled the motor and now Travis is lowering it back down. We're gonna try and get it to idle at like operating temp now and just keep an eye on the water level here.
So funny, every time we put this thing back down, how low this and small this thing all is.
Yeah.
So I'll plug the fan back in too. We get fan action. Normally this wire hides in the, or hides, doesn't really hide very well, but technically goes into the
Front clip.
front clip, so that's there. It's funny how I have to get all the way in because I have to actually have my gas foot on the throttle.
Yeah.
Gotta pump it. at 138 degrees. Yeah, 162. Okay. Keep that open. Alright, I put some more water in it. 167. One. All right, so it's now flowing water because the temperature's plummeting. Here we go, 176. It was up at 200, and now it's just dropping. Finally got the big air bubble out of it. There we go. 162. It's exactly where it wants to be. Already.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's at 165, so it keeps bouncing. 170, turns the fan on. 160, 170, turns the fan on. That's with the cap off. So basically, it's ready to go. How's it feeling there?
She's a hot rod. She's like shaking. I mean, this side needs to slide a bit more. Yeah, that was like the quickest we've done it. That was like, boom. Alright guys, the Firebird is ready to go, and the next time you guys see this car, we're going to be testing it out at Famoso. So, see you guys next time.